Okay. So put it up there, and then I'll read it over here. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is an organization that has saved my life. That has saved my life. It is it is a rare thing. It is a rare thing that has not been in controversy at all. And as far as recovering from alcoholism and drugs, now, honestly, I was a bigger drug addict than alcoholic, and I'd say the only controversy is there's NA, but I prefer AA because there's more time in AA. I just feel like with more time, you have more experience. But as far as getting people sober, let's say over the last 100 years, there have been a lot of cockamamie ideas. This is the only thing that's worked. This is the only thing that's consistently worked. And it's basically a plan. It's a plan set up by steps, a plan for rebuilding your life and understanding that alcohol and drugs are but symptoms of an inner problem. From abuse. You were either born that way. There's a lot of stuff that you can deal with, and it's a lifetime commitment to sobriety. That can be very daunting. That's why you have to really get the one day at a time concept. So you're not thinking about, I have to stay sober the rest of my life. No, today. So it doesn't become a source of stress and anxiety, because that can be very crippling. Addiction is defined as a disease. I agree with that, but a disease that involves a conscious decision. So that does not absolve me of any responsibility. Okay. Like, I am responsible for what I did when I chose to pick up those drugs and use, and the consequences are me. I can't go, oh, it's my disease. That's not my fault. That's not how it works at all. So it stayed out of controversy. But we get this from Robbie Starbuck, which, listen, during the election, I was in San Francisco at the time. I remember going to my meetings and then some people bitching about Trump and stuff. You just let them talk, whatever, but it doesn't devolve into political discussions. And that's been the miracle of AA. It doesn't really do that. Every meeting's different. I'm sure some suck. But like, there's so many of them, and it's not a professional organization. It's not for profit. And the fact that it's stayed around this long and gotten so many people sober, and that percentage is still small. It's still small, but it's something that works. And the reason it works is because it's not easy. There is no quick fix to sobriety. There is no drug that's going to make you sober. None of it. You have to work. We worked really hard as addicts to get high, and we have to redirect that energy to stay sober every day. All right, so from Robbie Starbuck, this is concerning. Alcoholics Anonymous changed their preamble, no longer saying they're a fellowship of men and women. Now it's saying they're a fellowship of people. I'm told this was changed to cater to the transmission agenda, and some left AA meetings over this and see increasingly woke ideologies permeating within the meetings as some part of the country. It should go without saying that this is wrong. The founders of AA are greatly concerned with the meetings having zero political bent of social stances and could divide people. Now wokeness is dividing the once great organization. You should wonder about all the negative impacts that may have occurred as a byproduct as no longer going to meetings. Yes. Remember, liquor stores were open. AA meetings were closed during COVID. Now, a lot of those, there were some rebellious AA meetings, which I appreciate. But a lot of them just shut down and went to Zoom, and you can't get the same fellowship out of a Zoom call. You can't. You have to be there. You have to be there. And the fact that they shut that down but kept liquor stores open, kept those drugs flowing, it shouldn't be surprising that relapses had gone up. And there's no way to completely get the numbers on this, but upwards of 60%. 60%. And more people died of overdoses one year than died of COVID in San Francisco. That's a fact. The piece from Ben Apple dives in deeper that I can for my two sources worth reading. AA needs to drop the wokeness and reinstate clear boundaries to keep all political and social issues out of the organization. So we're going to look at the preamble real quick, but there's a 12 traditions in AA, and the 10th is no AA group or member should ever, in such a way as to implicate AA, express any opinion on outside controversial issues. It's worded differently, but basically, AA as an organization does not have an opinion on any political issues, period. So it doesn't draw the organization into any controversies. Now, anecdotally, I checked with a couple of people, and this is certainly the case in San Francisco. So they did change the preamble in San Francisco. They have not changed it in my meeting here in Texas. And even if they did, I would say very loudly, men and women. So if they did, I would keep my old preamble, because I'm going to tell you how stupid this is. But yes, alcoholics, here's the preamble. Let me see it. Let me look over it on the screen.
Do you want the original or the new
I want the original.
There you go.
Okay. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, and they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. Now let's go to the new one. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other so they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. Now, here's the reason you don't need to do this. Because, and there is a lot of talk of men dressed as women going into women's meetings. So there's men's and women's meetings. And I was concerned during the wokeopolis, which was COVID, that like stuff like this would start happening. And it's going to be accepted per meeting. And that's kind of the way it should be. Each meeting kind of polices itself. If a woman's meeting wants to allow that, if somebody's getting sober, I honestly don't give a shit as long as it's an adult. I don't care. It's up to the women at that meeting. I don't go to women's meetings. I don't go to men's meetings. I've never been big on men's meetings. I've gone to a couple, but I like to go where everybody is and shares their experience, strength, and hope. I like to hear from most people possible. But you could still say men and women, because ultimately, if it's a man pretending to be a woman, well, I mean, he could just apply that woman to him in his own imagination, in his own headcanon, because he's obviously got one going already. So I don't care. I don't see the need to change that. And that is going to create controversy over a small minority of people, probably centered in American cities, like San Francisco. I wouldn't be surprised if my old home meeting, which was fantastic, is doing it. I'll find out. But, and I hate talking, like, AA takes care of itself. It's not a cult. There's no defined leadership. There is some, a little bit of deity worship with Dr. Bob and Bill, with their images up there. And I'm not really into that, but whatever. But that's far and few between. And I am just for keeping the walls adorned with sayings from AA and not people's pictures. You know what I'm saying? And keeping focused on the message of sobriety. And that's for everybody, like absolutely everybody. What alcohol and drugs is a symptom of a much bigger personal problem I have, right? Be it bad brain chemistry, a tough youth, whatever. These are issues I've had to work out through my steps, and continually have to do till the day I die. Hopefully of natural causes and not relapsing or anything. Because if I relapse, I'm dead. I'm a dead man. Like, I'll probably have 2 weeks to live, minimum. And the amount of destruction I'll be able to do in that 2 weeks is immeasurable. If I go out and I keep that fear in my head, it's a great motivator. You never
won't let you, Gary. We won't let you.
Thanks, buddy. You never defeat alcoholism. You never defeat your demons. You cage them. You cage them, you keep them at bay. And you keep them at bay by being happy, living a very happy, sober life. Sobriety's based, by the way. Just want to point that out. It's also not easy. So to have this, something that like happen, even potentially happen, is concerning. And I hope it gets internally taken care of. And I hope it doesn't become a controversy, but it's starting to. And AA hasn't had one. And I'm way more concerned with the newcomers, right? Because again, you'll be amazed if you ever go to a meeting someday. If you're curious about it, go to a meeting.
I've heard good things. I've heard good things.
See what it's like. They're really good, and they're filled with just regular people that you see, and they're packed. And these are people who've been sober from anywhere from 1 day to 50 years. Coming in with 50 years. I saw a guy get a 50-year cake. I was like, holy
wow.
So that's commitment. And going to that meeting and helping other people is part of your sobriety. It's a major part of your sobriety is giving back. And all you want to do is watch them turn their lives around. No agenda, nothing. Like what you like who you like, don't care, just want you to be sober and happy. That's all. So again, drugs, alcohol, symptom of a problem. And I don't think we should be, in most cases, sorry to say, because you know what part of AA? Rigorous honesty. And part of that is saying we don't really want to support any kind of mental illness that might be a symptom of a bigger problem. Just saying. I think participating in fantasies is not conducive to sobriety or mental health.
Or a denial of reality, because a denial of reality could even leak into the very thing you're dealing with. I mean, you are, I as long as I've known you, Gary, and I knew you before I knew you. Or no, wait, because we met like in WonderCon in 2010 or 11.
Yep.
Anyways, you've been brutally honest, in particular when it comes to yourself. So, yeah, I just think that's a slippery slope to deny
Absolutely.
reality.
And that's the source of rigorous honesty. It's not with the world, it's with internal honesty.
Right.
Like, am I like when I'm not perfect at this, and I won't be ever, but if I'm in an argument or a disagreement, my first question is, am I fucking this one up? Like that's what it's got to be. It's got to be like, maybe I'm wrong here. Let me check first. But that's me. So I it's not in every meeting. And honestly, it's like each meeting it's up to the people in charge of that general meeting. I go to I really like Al-Anon clubs and stuff where it's just a dedicated building for meetings. So it's got a vibe to it that I really like. And they have meetings all day and all kinds of meetings. There's Al-Anon is for normies. So where I get the term normie is somebody who's not an alcoholic or a drug addict. You're a normie. Like you can have a half a glass of beer and leave it on the bar or whatever and not think about it. You're a normie. You're fine. But normies are affected by alcoholics. So it's family members, partners, husbands, wives, and it's great for that. So there's Al-Anon. Then they do like CA. Cocaine Anonymous is the most fun. They have a hilarious preamble. They do a lot of, it's like the Saturday Night Live of meetings. Not a lot of sobriety in those, man. Cocaine's tough. Hell of a drug. Then there's NA. And whichever you prefer. I personally prefer AA, but that's my preference. So that's where I go. I go to an Al-Anon club where they have a dedicated place. They have a kitchen, good coffee, and just a lot of regulars, so I feel it's got a good vibe. I don't want anything happening to that organization. It is one of the very few good organizations out there that has not been corrupted.